Sir James George Frazer, 1854–1941, was a Scottish anthropologist at the Academy in Helensburgh, Dumbarton, attended Glasgow University, 1869, Trinity College, Cambridge, 1874, and became a Fellow in 1879. In 1907, he was appointed Professor of Social Anthropology in Liverpool, and then returned to Cambridge until the end of his days. Frazer made studies about the stories of ancient civilizations from different parts of the world and evaluated where their beliefs came from on topics such as life, death, immortality, creation of the world and so on. He always kept in mind the teachings of Plato and the Hermetic principles. He defined that the advance of civilizations takes place through 3 stages or cycles, in which Frazer defines that the main concept that manages each stage are magic, religion, and science. He was the author of the book The Golden Bough, The Study of Magic and Religion, published in its first edition in 1890, which continued printing until 1937. It is interesting to locate the time when the book was written, since we have to go back to the year 1890 when the first edition was published, where science was just beginning to have its weight in society, and religion was the one that had the most weight in terms of defining the general concepts of things that affected people. If we go back to ancient times, astrology and other methods of analyzing the movement of personal or general energies, these were defined within the category of magic. This period was followed by the one where religion had a major role, always speaking of the Occident, where it defined the rules of what was or could be and what was not, and everything that was outside of this rule was considered prohibited or demonic. No need to go into detail as what was the Inquisition or the prohibitions that were applied socially with punishments up to death penalty to the transgressors. At this stage, astrology, as well as other methods of measuring the energies that surround us and we interact daily, were considered illegal or charlatanism. We are currently transiting the cycle governed by science, in which everything and absolutely everything, in order to be accepted, has to go through the rigorous process of scientific approval, and everything that does not qualify with this premise, although it is not prohibited, it is left aside as non-existent or inexplicable. It is simply considered New Age or pseudo-religion or belief system. The interesting thing regarding what is happening, through the evolution of quantum mechanics and physics, is that the scientific principles, on which these branches of science were based, changed. There is the internal struggle within science, where still the traditional line of science does not fully accept or trying to ignore the new concept, with the new trend that accepts that the functioning of things, including the human body, has to be analyzed from a totally different point of view. The broadening of knowledge of how the movement of energy, frequencies, vibrations, DNA, the functioning of cells, stem cells, the effect of vibrations, sounds, on water and many other things, are the basis to rethink the basic principles known by traditional science. Through the articles published in relation to new scientific knowledge and astrology, we are in the process for scientific validation of astrology, for defining it as a valid method of measuring the internal energies and well as those that affect us at every moment. We are in this process, because at this moment, and this must be emphasized, we found ourselves in this particular cycle. In this period, in order to reach the common people in a massive and accepted way, through mainstream media, we must go through the process of validation and acceptance by science. In the same way that in science there is a push between 2 currents of thinking as mentioned, similar situation is happening within astrology, where the traditional vision treats knowledge as something separated from the plane where we are, to the new trend, in which the new information available from science is merged to the already known ancestral knowledge. Everything is movement, vibration, nothing is static, concept of quantum physics. Thank you for your visit. You can subscribe to our channel or to our blog at www.thenewroads.com for other interesting related articles, and you can book your astrological consultation.